Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I'm here to talk about Shannon Ross versus Jesus Santos Aguilar. Aguilar is 27 years old, 8-2 as a pro, and he's giving up 2 inches of height and 4 inches of reach to 34-year-old Shannon Ross, who is 12-7. Ross, he's got 7 finishes in his 12 wins, 6 by knockout, 1 by submission, and then he's got 5 decision wins. His 7 losses come 3 by knockout, 1 by submission, 3 by decision. In the last 10 years, though, he's only lost to really good guys who have made it to the UFC. Ashkan Mokhtarian beat him by decision. Steve Erceg's the only guy to submit him, rear naked choke, and that guy, as we saw last month, he's going to be around the UFC for a long time. And the 3 knockout losses come to Clayton Rodriguez, steamrolled him in a minute. Vinicius Salvador beat him up, a more sustained beating, and then got him out of there in round 2. And then the other one I think was over 10 years ago, but it just some other guy. But it's important to mention that it was a knockout with a head kick in 6 seconds. Anytime someone loses in 6 seconds, it's important to bring it up. Like I'll talk about with Jalen Turner, lost to this guy Borja, and it was in like 11 seconds. But anyway, Shannon Ross, he's probably, I'd say maybe his best days are behind him. He's still beaten some good fighters, even somewhat recently, but at the UFC, I think I don't expect too much from him. He beat Charlie Alvarez, who was going to be in the UFC. A guy was on The Ultimate Fighter some time ago, and he beat him by decision. Beat the guy Paul Loga, really good brawler in Europe, and he beat him in round 3 by a knockout in a savage fight. Beat this guy Donovan Frelo, who's got a dog shit record, but he's really good for such a dog shit record. Ross is definitely a capable fighter, but here, in the UFC, he's up against it. He's got this is on paper a potentially winnable fight for him, but this is about it, I'd say, as far as the level Shannon Ross can win at in the UFC. Jesus Aguilar, not that he's a low-level fighter, but he's a guy pretty much, he's not making his debut, but he got steamrolled by Tatsuro Taira in his debut, so I'm sure it feels like his debut here. He's making his return to the UFC, and he's got an 8-2 record. 2 losses are both by submission. He lost by rear naked choke in his MMA debut, and he lost by triangle armbar in his UFC debut, his last fight against Taira. He has 6 wins by submission in his 8 victories. They are all, or 5 of them are by guillotine. The other one I think is a rear naked. He has 1 in round 1, 1 in round 2, 2 in round 3, and 1 in round 5. Safe to say cardio isn't an issue for him, and certainly, he's got a dangerous guillotine throughout the whole fight, and it's already gotten him some nice victories. He beat Erickson Fajeda, got him out of there in a competitive fight with a 3rd round finish, also a last round finish. He got Edgar Chairez out of there in the 5th round. That was the UWC in Mexico. He got him out of there with a guillotine in round 5. Obviously the final, the last round finish there. And he beat that guy Jamie Alvarez, who was on The Ultimate Fighter some time ago. He got him out of there in round 2. So he's already beaten some good guys. I'd say he's a dangerous fighter. I really like what I see from him. I thought he was up against it against Taira, but here I think he can shine. I think I'd be a lot more comfortable picking him if he was more dangerous on the feet. But even though he's not bad at all on the feet, he's just not dangerous. 0 finishes by knockout. I think that leaves room for Shannon Ross to win this fight. But still, I'm picking Aguilar. I'm picking Aguilar to win. I like his speed. I think he's going to have a distinct speed advantage. I think technically he's got definitely an advantage on the ground, technically over Shannon Ross, grappling-wise. I don't know if he's going to be on top or bottom, though, especially with his propensity for guillotines and Shannon Ross using wrestling, which he's got wrestling in his back pocket, I believe. It could prove to be a bad matchup for Jesus Aguilar, but I'm picking Jesus Aguilar to win. I just trust him a lot more than I do Shannon Ross. And it wouldn't surprise me if Shannon Ross got clipped even by Jesus Aguilar. On paper, it shouldn't be a possibility, but I do think it is. And I'm picking Jesus to win. I'm not married to any method of victory. chances are it's submission. And sure, I sprinkled prop bets on that, plus 500, plus 700, plus 1,000 for rounds 1, 2, and 3. I played each one of those with a small prop bet because they don't allow me to play submission flat. But I thought those were kind of juicy, and I do think that's his primary path to victory. But mainly, I just played his money line, which is now at minus 140. Shannon Ross is good and could win by decision, so I played him winning by decision at plus 350 as a sprinkle to hedge against the submission bets. But really, my primary bet is the Aguilar money line. I think he's going to win this fight. Like, share, subscribe, all that horseshit, and check out my other videos.